The East Anglian Air Ambulance, which covers the 3 counties of Norfolk, Suffolk and Cambridgeshire, was the 3rd busiest air ambulance in Britain in 2005. And with a rising regional population, things look set to get busier for the new, larger, faster aircraft, which arrived in April 2006. The service is run by a charity. Every minute of flying time, as well as the lease for the new helicopter, is paid for entirely by public donations. The running costs currently stand at upwards of £110,000 a month. It's the start of a long weekend when the roads are busy with bank holiday traffic.
Okay, all right, we'll give you a call in the air and go from there then, all right?
The helicopter, codenamed Anglia 1, has just received a call to a road traffic accident in rural Suffolk.
Service 3501.
On board are paramedics Damon Wedden and Martin Barr. There are 15 full-time paramedics who, like Damon and Martin, divide their time crewing emergency ambulances both on the road and in the air.
370.
With over 20 years of flying as a military pilot, Captain Ray Turner is undaunted by taking off and landing in tight situations. With no time to plan the flight, one of the paramedics assists Ray with navigation.
404, 6¼ miles contact, what should we talk down?
I think the first thing we're thinking about is where is it, and navigating. That's our primary. We need to get there, but we need to get there safely. So not only are we navigating, but we're also eyes for the pilot as well. So we're looking out for other aircraft, gliders, parachuting, those sort of things.
Flying low over Rendlesham Forest, the crew locate the accident. It's taken them just 15 minutes to reach the scene.
On the way there, we could quite clearly hear that the land ambulance couldn't find it, so we were able to spot it fairly quickly from the air.
A motorcyclist, thrown from his machine, has bumped along the road and ended up on the grass verge.
Hello there, just keep nice and still for us for the moment.
Okay, nice deep breath in and out. Any pain when you breathe in at all?
Try not to nod or shake your head if possible.
Okay. We obviously need to protect your neck, and because you've had a bit of a tumble. Okay, and so we're going to stick you in a neck brace and what have you, okay?
We'll get you comfortable in a moment, all right?
I just want to see if there's any damage to his helmet. Right, your pulse is 80, so that's good. Okay.
The motorcyclist appears to have had a lucky escape, but as a precautionary measure, his neck is placed in a collar and he'll be moved onto a spinal board to guard against further injury.
Are you happy by road? I don't think there's any need to airlift him.
Okay, yeah. Are you all happy? We all got a...
Just a little bit, yep. Okay,
okay.
got
Ready,
a bit.
set, roll. Stop.
Okay, guys.
Excellent.
I reckon
A little bit,
yeah, that's
okay.
about fine there.
And ready, set, lower. Super.
The land ambulance will take him to Ipswich Hospital for a thorough examination in the accident and emergency department.
Okay, watch the ditch, guys.
Just mind the cylinder.
And the cylinder. Just rest it on
Job done, Damon and Martin take their leave. The helicopter will now fly to its normal daily standby position at RAF Honington in Suffolk.
Sorry, in that case, we'll have to continue another. Alpha, the Watershore QNH now 1025. 225, element to Alpha. Anglia 1, I'm Anglia 1.
Airborne once more, Anglia 1 receives notice of another accident, this time south of Ipswich on the busy A12.
It's the A12 at Stratford St Mary.
You know, it's close to the Essex border, so okay.
I ain't got my passport. Silver 332 in Alpha.
Another rural location, Ray is able to land the helicopter in a field beside the road.
It's quite a physically demanding job compared to a land ambulance because obviously you park on the road and normally your access is quite good to people. We're landing in fields, people's gardens, and you know there's ditches to climb, fences to climb, things like that. So it's there are a few hazards, but you need to be fairly fit, and some of the kit is quite heavy, and you have to just sort of chuck it over the hedge sometimes, and then sort of fight your way through.
Hello, mate.
Hello, how you doing?
All right, thank you. We've got a young lady here who's...
A car has gone into the back of another vehicle, leaving the front end smashed and the driver badly shaken.
Shortly. Just keep nice and still with it. Just look forwards,
just keep looking
all
at
right?
me. Yeah, don't move your head. Keep looking at me. Someone's just going to take your head, okay?
As you can appreciate, Maxine, it's very difficult to, you know, fully check you over here and stuck on it in your car. So, but you're fine. You're chatting to us. You're absolutely fine. All right.
I'm well aware that people may get quite anxious if a helicopter pitches up, and they may feel that they are very seriously ill, you know, to receive, you know, a helicopter and all the fuss that goes with it. But it's just reassurance, really, you know, let them know we were nearby. It settles the patient down. It makes your life easier as well. And you know, you need to keep people informed. They need to be aware of what's happening around them.
She's rear-ended the van at approximately 60 miles an hour. Had significant impact, as you can see. Airbag deployed, seatbelt, okay?
A land ambulance arrives with a doctor on board.
Okay, doctors just have a chat. I'm Andrew. I'm a doctor out with the ambulance.
To protect her spine and ensure her safe removal to hospital, a decision is taken to cut Maxine out of the car.
Damo.
It's the fire brigade who will do this, but travelling south from Ipswich, they first to get onto the northbound carriageway and then get through several miles of traffic tailback.
The road was shut for quite some time, I believe, and although it was the Friday before bank holiday, motorists unfortunately were kept waiting in their cars. Purely for the safety aspect, the fire service have to get in there, work around the car, cut the car roof off, and it's for a safety aspect for all personnel that are working around the car and for the patient.
So what we're thinking of is taking us straight out. Now, we initially looked at folding the seats down, which may be done, but I think you're going to have trouble with the ball. It's going to be twisted, sort of thing. So what we'd like...
So you want the roof off?
I'd just roof it, mate.
Roof off.
Yeah, if you're happy roofing it, just roof it, and we'll clear out your way. We're quite happy with her.
Yeah.
We'll clear out your way, let you get it done. You're going to hear some generators start up.
The firefighters use a hydraulic cutter, which exerts a pressure upwards of 30 tonnes to crunch through the roof post.
I mean, that is actually quite an impact to the front of the vehicle.
Yes, it's taken
a
hefty blow, hasn't it?
Yeah, and she's actually relatively okay. Not too bad at all. So you're going to come out through the back, yep? I'll move them out. I'm going to move this over.
The emergency services work together to remove Maxine to safety and ensure the road reopens as soon as possible.
Damo, they want us to go to an RTA. So you happy to go on that?
You need to grab out, do a quick...
Yeah, I've told Ray he's got enough fuel. It's going to wind up.
Okay.
Bye.
You all right then, chaps? We've got to go.
We're going to leave it to it, all right?
Boys.
Cheers. Bye.
See you, Andy. Well done, mate. Good job.
Emergency over, Damon and Martin leave the scene as they've been called to another job. This time the team are searching for a car smash on a minor road in remote North Suffolk.
So is it a minor road?
It is a minor road, yeah.
Silver 33, only meant to an Alpha.
Hi, guys. Hello. Okay.
These two?
These two?
Fine.
You're fine. Okay, we'll come back to you in a minute. In this car?
Yeah.
Okay, you got any neck pain at all?
Yes.
You have, okay. Can you keep looking at me, okay? Don't move your head, please. Keep your head nice and still.
The driver has suffered a rear-end shunt, but he's conscious and alert.
Just got one casualty with neck pain at the moment, so I'm just going to get the helicopter to shut down and grab some equipment, but minor injuries really at the moment.
And whereabouts does it hurt on your arm?
Mainly this whole area.
Just that area there, okay.
Yeah.
Are you able to bend it just gently, bend it up?
Yep.
Yeah, no problem?
No problem.
What we'll do is we're going to pop you on a spinal board
Yep.
and then lower you down, strap you down, okay, purely because you've got pain in your neck.
Yep.
Okay, so we want to obviously protect that for you, okay. It might seem quite, sort of severe, but okay, it's just purely precautionary.
A pattern of injury is emerging.
It's all been sort of spinal care really, which is a bulk of the work. Precautionary measure again, collar and boarding. Quite happy for him to go by road, certainly didn't need to be flown. He was stable, everything was absolutely fine. So it was just, check him over, wait for the land ambulance which was nearby, and they will pop him off to A&E for another checkup.
Right, ready, set, stand. Nice and
okay,
gently,
nice and tall. Okay.
The doctor would assess him, basically they'd roll him off the board. The doctor would go down his back, feel his back, then they roll him back again, and then the doctor would have a feel down his neck. And if there was any pain elicited on the examination, they would then normally get x-rays.
Mind your fingers.
And someone take their... He's in a good position. There, look.
Look at that, it's perfect.
Perfect.
For these 3 drivers, the bank holiday has got off to a rough start. But due to the swift response of the flying paramedics, they stand the best possible chance of making a speedy recovery.
I really enjoy the job I do. It's one, I think it's the best job in the world. Certainly combining the land ambulance with the air ambulance gives me great satisfaction.
It's a great team on the road and in the air. We all work together. I just really enjoy it. It's really good. I look forward to coming to work.
Kempston Fire Station is a few miles to the west of Bedford. It's one of 14 Bedfordshire fire stations serving well over 500,000 people in the county. Kempston's fire engine turned out over 1,200 times in the last 12 months. For incidents ranging from fires to road traffic accidents, from cats stuck up trees to malicious false alarms.
Hello, Brigade Control, can I help you?
The communication centre here at Kempston directs the 999 calls for the whole county.
Have you got everybody out of the premises? Right, is that in Kempston? Right, we're on our way to you now.
Tonight, it's Green Watch who responds to the call.
On the roundabout, turning left.
Driving the pump is firefighter Bob Telfer, who's been a firefighter for 20 years.
Driving a 12.5 tonne vehicle at speed, it does take it out of you. Narrow streets, it's luck and judgment and it's experience.
The fire is in a terrace house in a very narrow street. Luckily, Bob is able to stop the pump right outside.
So go ahead with your message, over.
Yeah, just send an informative. Out on arrival.
The first job is to get everyone out of the house. The owner took in some smoke, so the firefighters give him oxygen.
You feel okay?
The incident commander is Green Watch's sub-officer Simon Marlowe.
FDR 1 Alpha. As the watch commander, I'm sort of like the daddy of the watch, for the want of a better way of saying it, and it's my job to sort of like encourage the teamwork. When you've got a good team working together, it's great for the public. If you turn up to a road traffic accident and everyone knows what each other's thinking because they've worked together well and they get on with each other, then that's a better delivery for the public.
Happily, this is an incident which concludes with little more than a burnt evening meal.
What happened was the smoke just come out the back of the cooker while I was cooking my dinner. And it's basically all I know about it. I just covered the top of it, tried to smother it with the oven gloves, but it was just flames were too low down and it was just burning through them. So I just chucked a couple of pans of water on it.
You okay?
The fire service advised people not to put water on kitchen fires where cooking fat is involved. But unusually in this case, it seems to have worked. Back at the fire station, Green Watch embark on a training exercise to free a trapped driver from the wreckage of an RTA, a road traffic accident.
We started to get the glass done, okay?
What, Joe?
As soon as they've started taking the glass out, just follow the glass.
Yeah. Right, okay, yeah.
Right, can you set the O2 stuff up in the back and stick it on the casualty?
Yeah, sure.
Kempston has one of the best specialist rescue units in Britain, carrying a range of tools and equipment to help the firefighters cut casualties free and extract them from the twisted wreckage of RTAs, collapsed buildings and even earthworks.
Have you got an update on any of the injuries?
You're number 2 with these, okay?
Okay.
This car's been hit side on and the casualty is trapped by his legs. So what we're going to do, first of all we're going to take all of the glass out and then ultimately we're going to actually chop the roof off. Slide a spine board down the back of the seat and then lift the casualty out that way. That stops any movement to the spine which could potentially cause paralysis.
James, I'm starting to cut.
We do practice for road traffic accidents on the drill ground. We've got cars that we can cut up.
Jerry, can you take the struts off of the boot?
And if you can practice it to get it perfect on the drill ground, when you come to do it, when you need to sort of rescue a member of the public, then everything goes smooth.
Just want to open up, see what we got. Right. We can open up a small gap from 1 inch wide up to 5 foot wide. We can cut, remove vehicles, parts, open doors. We can cut virtually anything with our equipment. We carry oxyacetylene equipment that can be used.
Yeah, okay, cutting now.
Is it all clear? Yeah, right, okay, let's take it forward. Phil, get the volley shield.
Sometimes, obviously, we're faced with fatalities at these, and we've also got a live person in the car as well, and you've got to treat them very sensitively, because sometimes they're aware that the person who was in the car with them is a fatal, which is obviously very distressing for them.
Head lift. 3, 2, 1, lift. That's good.
All fire crews practice extracting casualties from RTAs on a regular basis.
Ready? Yeah, go. 1, 2, 3.
It's a skill which always must be maintained at a very high level.
Rest.
Little did Greenwatch know that within 2 hours of this exercise, they'd be doing it for real.
Lie down, guys. That's it.
Captain 12 for your mobile to Jubilee Park. Unknown fire, but possible moped. Received, over.
But first, there's a turnout for another fire.
The first turning off the Southways nursery.
Finding the park is easy. Squeezing the pump through the narrow park gate is more challenging.
If Bob's any good at driving, we might be able to.
Right, squeeze.
Breathe in. There's an old skateboard park down here, and the kids try and get in here obviously at night time and play, and then get bored and then set fire to something. Right, get hose reel off. Tyres is down here. Arms pride and joy ruined. Give it a good soaking, Gabby. Just give the tyres a good wet down, and I'll go and have a look in a minute.
Yeah, I'll send the stop message over.
Whoever set fire to the moped is well out of sight, but with the fire out, Simon must now find some identification.
There's not a lot to go on here.
Then it's back in the pump to return to Kempston. But before they can get back into the fire station, another call-out is flashed over the radio.
Reports of road traffic accident, Shuttleworth Road, Bedford.
When we go to road traffic accidents, if there's a lot of cars involved and there's a lot of casualties, I have to prioritise which casualties we're going to treat first with the resources that we've got.
Okay, traffic lights are on red, going straight over these traffic lights, taking speed out of it.
As for dealing with the casualties, you tend to switch off. Because you don't know them, you don't get personal with it, and that lets you get on with the job. And it's only afterwards, particularly if it's like children or something like that, when you can identify if you've got children of your own.
Right, okay. Is there an airbag on this?
I've got to try and find out how many people are in the van, and if there's anybody else involved, because sometimes people get thrown clear.
No one else in the van then?
Just me.
Just you, yeah?
The driver confirmed that there was no one else involved, and so then all we're doing is concentrating on that guy there.
I've squeezed his cuff so he can feel it.
Yeah.
Right? But he can't move his leg out of that gap, so we just need to push a bit of the dashboard away from him and he's free.
Right, okay, just get that glass out of the way that's over there.
Right, all I'm doing is putting the blanket over here. I'm going to smash the window, okay? Yeah. Right, smashing. Can you push it this way?
Can someone get me head in there just so I can have a quick look? Yeah, well, yeah.
When we go to road traffic accidents, we meet a lot of the same paramedics, and sometimes we get to know them by first name.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
And if you can establish a good rapport with the other services, you know, even the police as well, then everything just goes that much smoother.
Steve, just get your hand in there, see if you can feel to get the sling wrap, the chains around the steering wheel, to see if there's enough space.
We had to put a chain around the steering column and another chain underneath the vehicle to the chassis, and using our spreaders, instead of spreading, we're actually pulling the chains together, and that was actually lifting the dashboard and the steering column away from the casualty, so they were then released and they could go to hospital.
Right, Steve, make sure it doesn't turn it down at the bottom into it.
Sharp knife there, Simon. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Right, on your call, Steve.
Very slowly, go. Okay.
Right, can you slacken that chain off yet?
Rest it there. Rest.
Right, okay, get round here, get on with him. Are you happy getting him out of this, yeah?
I think he's decided he's coming out, isn't he?
Right, give him a man. Jim, just get in and just get anything you can, okay?
What's that leg?
Happily, the hospital allowed the driver home that night, a little shocked and shaken, but without serious injury.
That's the driver's seat. The passenger would have been there, which there is no passenger space at all now. If you can just see where I'm shining the torch there, that is the glass, and that's on the headrest of what was the passenger. So anyone in this, it would have been unsurvivable, definitely, because that's the back of the lorry there. So it was quite fortunate that the guy was on his own.
More bemused than shaken was the lorry driver who'd been parked up and was asleep in the cab when the van struck.
He had parked up at 5 o'clock in the evening and he'd watched telly, fallen asleep, been asleep for a couple of hours, didn't even hear the van ram into the back of him. Someone else went and knocked on his cab door to explain to him that someone had actually rammed into the back and the van was still stuck in the back, and he got out and he obviously couldn't believe what he'd seen.
Milton Keynes is a borough of over 200,000 people. As many as 6,000 of them will come into the nightclub district on a Friday or Saturday night. Most will have a fun, incident-free evening.
I didn't do it.
But, as ever, there will be those whose evening will not turn out as they might have wished.
Your night's finished in there, mate. I suggest you go home and on your way.
Or go somewhere else.
Well, I'm not going to stand here and argue. Listen, mate, I'm not going to stand here and argue. He's asked you to leave the premises.
I just need my coat. I'm not having him there. I'm not having him.
Why did you ask him to fuck himself? What's your language?
Keep the language down.
I just need my coat. That's all I want is my coat.
Fine. Calm down. Talk to me quietly.
I didn't ask you. I didn't tell you. We weren't there, mate. We didn't know what you said.
Give me a ticket and I'll go and get him. Yeah. This way, rather than shouting and swearing all over the place and get it. No, they pushed him around. Okay.
On Fridays and Saturdays, the public order shifts take on a highly visible patrol in the nightclub district, with extra constables brought in specially for the shift. PC's Neil Ferguson and Sean Smith are regular members of these Friday and Saturday night shifts, as are PC Tripley Whitney and her patrol partner, PC Gemma Price.
Hiya, you alright? Public order shifts is all about drunk people. Happy drunks, violent drunks, sad drunks, you get all sorts. I quite enjoy it because it's nice to have the chance to interact with people on a fairly light-hearted basis if they're in a good mood. On the other hand, you get the bad drunks who want to start fights with anyone, including us, cause trouble, make the place a bad place for other people who just want to go out and have fun.
Outside a nightclub, a brawl involving a man celebrating his 21st birthday has begun.
What's been detained for?
Come up here, trying to attack me. His mate there, has been ejected from here. They all just came running back up at the door. Restrained this one wouldn't get off. And he swung the doorman.
You could quite clearly see that there had been something go on. But the two males that had obviously been involved in something were being detained on the floor.
What has gone on? What has gone on?
He's run along here, attempted to assault me.
No, he didn't. Yes, he did.
PC Smith went and dealt with the other chap. We asked for more units to attend because obviously there was other members of the public about. And you always do get concerned if they've got friends there, the friends want to get involved.
Yeah, go on. All right. Legs.
We want to try and get things calm and get all the accounts, as much detail as we can, as soon as possible. And if there's no offences, get these people on their way. We don't want to be ruining anyone's night without any need to, really.
Just calm down, trying to talk to you. 2 feet.
Gently.
Right,
gently.
OK, mate. Right, just calm down now.
It's my 21st birthday tonight.
OK, mate.
If you need me, we'll get you an ambulance. Whatever it's anyone get you an ambulance, you get yourself to hospital, can't you? All right.
I'll let him do his job. I'm letting him do his job. I want to know what's going to happen to that fucking boundary. You fucking love me for no fucking reason.
Once he sobers up after this incident, with his sore head, I think he'll realise what he's done. I think he'll hopefully be sorry by what he's done.
If he's giving you advice, right, calm down, otherwise you're going to find yourself. Listen to your dad and walk home, yeah? All right? Okay. Right, last chance, yeah? Go on. Right, listen to me, I'm arresting you, okay? Under Section 5 of the Public Order Act. You don't have to say anything, may harm your defence, if you do not mention...
He's a young lad, he's got a lot of living to do, and hopefully that will be a little kick up the backside, and he won't forget his 21st birthday, that's for sure.
The next day, the man was released with an £80 fixed penalty fine for a public order offence.
Excuse me? Hi, mate. What's this?
What's this?
What's this?
I don't know.
This is what you were smoking. This is cannabis. Have you got any other cannabis on you, mate?
I haven't got nothing.
The attention of Trip and Gemma is suddenly drawn to a man smoking what appears to be a rather strange-looking cigarette.
Come over here for us.
What's going on? Why you all this?
Right, you're smoking cannabis out on the street.
I haven't got any cannabis.
6'1". I saw this chap with well, what looked like to me a spliff in his mouth. It looked longer than a cigarette and didn't have a butt. All right, stop waving your arms about. Right, mate, just stay where you are.
He saw us looking at him and he threw it away. We managed to retrieve that. We're talking to him about it, and from the start he was very uninterested in speaking to us. He wasn't particularly cooperative.
What do you want from me then?
I suspect that you might have drugs on you.
I might have drugs?
Yes.
Well, search me then.
Well, I can't search you because I'm a female officer. I'm going to get a male officer here to search you. And then if you've got any drugs on you, then you'll be arrested. Do you understand that?
It was very foolish of him to walk past two police officers smoking cannabis. I can't think of a more stupid act, really. That's just asking for trouble.
Hello. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to cannabis at the moment because it's been down class now. It is still illegal, it's still Class C. As police officers, we're still very strict if we see people smoking it out on the street. Yeah, it's still illegal. That's lovely, and you can be on your way now.
Finally, the man is allowed to go. The incident will be recorded on the police database, and unless he's had a previous conviction for a drug offence, no further action will be taken.
The adrenaline definitely starts pumping as soon as you see a fight because you know you've got to go in there, you've got to deal with it. You don't know how the outcome's going to be.
A black kid just come onto my boat, right?
Is that your girlfriend?
Yeah, that's my girlfriend, yeah. Oh, I can't believe it. Please let me walk away, I don't care.
He didn't do anything, he really didn't. OK.
The way we kind of deal with it is, if someone's being restrained, then there's a reason for it. They've displayed some sort of violence or aggressive behaviour. If we've got complete control over them, it's safer for them, for us, and for anyone else who happens to be standing about, when generally they calm down then and we can talk to them reasonably and find out what's happened.
He was protecting me, that's what it was. Where's he going? So just search it's all right. He's on about going on somewhere else, but so if he causes any more trouble, he's going to get arrested. All right, you go join if you want. Let him go now. Thank you. All right, take care then. Are you following us?
No, I think you're following me.
Yeah.
Happily, there are some whose attitude towards the police is rather more friendly.
Whereabouts are you going next then? After Milton Keynes, get bored of here. Where are you going?
Your house.
Oh, I don't think so. No.
Just put a tent up in the back garden.
I haven't got a garden.
No. Well, and I'll take you for a beer.
Oh, I don't drink, sorry.
I love policewomen.
Thank you, I love you too.
Sexy ones.
Have a good night, okay? Take care. See ya.
As the evening wears on, people spill out of the clubs and make their way to the fast food counters before queuing for a taxi. The taxi queue is another flashpoint.
Take on board what I've said. Take on board what I've said.
Taxi, will I? But I can't get one from this
right,
side.
What's your name?
I'm not looking
Take on board what I'm saying.
All he's doing is giving it to my friends like that.
Well, turn around.
Oh,
go
yeah,
home.
I'm scared, mate.
Get in the taxi and go home. There's obviously been a little bit of argy-bargy between a lot of them. and it's just handbags at dawn, basically. It just escalates from there.
The queue in there, they want to get home, tempers get flared, and the sort of thing that happens, unfortunately.
I'm sure he'll phone us in the morning to say thank you, but then again, maybe he will.
It's very difficult at times to reason with drunk people. They have a certain mindset and you cannot change it.
I mean, he's my mate, yeah?
He's all right.
I'm with him. Yeah, all right, shut up!
It's probably not very PC of me to say this, but I believe that generally people are less likely to want to become aggressive towards female police officers.
It depends how much he's had to drink, secondly.
All right.
And I think it can be quite beneficial in trying to diffuse a situation by just talking to them fairly calmly, and hopefully they'll listen.
Are you going to arrest me?
What for?
I know.
Exactly.
Can I get myself out?
I would say that there's not many people on a Friday, Saturday night from the city centre are brought or arrested and brought to the police station without alcohol playing some factor in that arrest.
Right. For that, you're getting an £80 ticket for your language. Do you understand? You come with
Back outside the fast food counter, a handbag has been hurled and a slanging match started.
He just hit me in the face, yeah? You didn't nick him. He grabbed me, pulled me around, and I told him to go away, and he wouldn't. And he goes, oh, KFC's no good for you, you fat bitch, yeah? He's going to get fucked up, man. I know he's...
No, you come with us.
Oh. Stop! I haven't done it.
Moving your arms about, or you will get nicked. The most important thing about working with any officer is trust, and is knowing that whatever situation you're in, they're watching your back and that you're watching theirs, and look after each other.
It's the start of the night shift for the ambulance crew based at Cromer in Norfolk. Paramedic Peter Simpson is checking the kit ahead of the first call.
First of all, we need to check we've actually got oxygen. We always check the gases first because it's the one thing you can't replace out on the road. Obviously a ventilator here, suction unit, an array of cupboards with a whole selection of equipment, oxygen masks, ET tubes, Entonox spares. And here, selection of various drugs which you keep.
The modern emergency ambulance also contains state-of-the-art, high-tech, potentially life-saving devices.
This is the electronic patient care record. It's a brand new piece of equipment that we have on the ambulances now, and it's vital for us to use this because as we're treating the patient, we're putting in their vital signs in real time, and this being sent by telemetry up to the hospital so they can plan the treatment for the patient before we've even arrived.
Not all patients, though, will need to go to hospital.
The beauty of the ambulance service now is we have so much more equipment for life-saving interventions, that when we arrive on scene, the primary focus now is to actually stabilise the patient and treat the patient on scene, and only then, if it's needed, is to remove the patient and take them to the hospital. Thus means we don't actually travel to the hospital under blue lights that often because we have all the basic life-saving equipment that you should need in a medical emergency in the ambulance.
Got red, Peter.
Peter's shift partner and the vehicle driver is ambulance technician Jean Reynolds. This first call is to a patient in Norwich, 25 miles away. As one of 26 ambulances working across Norfolk at any one time, the Cromer ambulance can cover up to 100 miles in one shift, much of which will be under blue lights and sirens.
Driving under blue lights and sirens does give me a buzz. I mean, I'd be a liar if I said it didn't, and I'm sure a lot of people would say the same. It can be stressful. Basically, you're never quite sure what anybody else is going to do. You always find that the car or 3 cars ahead of you sees you, but the one immediately in front of you doesn't. And you basically have to drive for everybody else on the road. You have to be aware that they may do something really silly.
A rapid response vehicle and 2 paramedics are already on scene at the home of an elderly man suffering from chest pains. Peter and Jean have been called to provide both medical assistance and emergency transport to hospital.
Bert, we need to take you to the hospital. Just for a checkup. That'll be Jean. Okay. You need to stand up very gently and just sit on this chair for me, if you can.
Sit straight down, Bert.
Round we come.
So just take pissed.
Sure, yeah.
No,
Okay.
good.
Nice and still, just want to tip you back. All right, you okay? Okay.
Bert's wife, Audrey, accompanies him to hospital. She has long had a nagging concern that the harsh physical treatment her husband received as a Japanese prisoner of war will take its toll in these later years of his life.
The Japanese treated you very badly, didn't they? Because as I say, he was the type of person who used to do all sorts of things to try and help. He used to try and pinch the fruit when the boats came in and things like that. Because he tried to give a Chinese girl, didn't you, a cigarette, and they caught him. He bashed him about, didn't he? Took her out and stood her at the top of a grave, dug a grave thing, and just slashed her with a knife, man, and so she died.
Killed her?
And I bet she was having a baby too, so he says. It was very bad.
And all because he gave her a cigarette?
Yeah.
A high proportion of Peter and Jean's patients are elderly, so knowing how to look after them is second nature.
I get a lot of pleasure out of actually dealing with the elderly. I think they need our attention more than anybody else because, well, they just deserve it, basically.
With Bert safely delivered into A&E, Peter and Jean have radioed the control room that they're now available again for emergency calls.
This call has come via the SOS bus.
Each Friday or Saturday night, upwards of 20,000 people descend on the clubs and pubs of Norwich city centre. Inevitably, the popular culture of drinking will lead to casualties.
Are you all right if I have a little look at you? Where do you hurt now?
It's just all round there.
Lower abdomen.
Staff at Mercy nightclub are giving comfort and shelter to a young woman who claims to have been assaulted at another venue in the city. The girl is complaining of abdominal pains, so Peter and Jean are taking her to hospital.
I'm going up. Right, keep your elbows in, because it's just going to go down. How many people were holding you down?
About 5. I argued my point because they reckon that I was too wrecked, and I said no, I ain't wrecked, fair dues, yeah. And they ended up pinning me down on the floor, and then this is what happened to me.
It would appear that perhaps the young woman's pride has taken rather more of a bashing than her body, but to make absolutely sure, Peter decides to take her to hospital.
Okay, do you know the person who hit you?
Back in the city, and another 19-year-old has been attacked.
Right, it's going to feel over your head, all right? Sometimes when something hurts, so we're looking
that hurts,
across
like,
here?
Yeah, and he thinks he's bigger than anyone else. He walks in the pub, think he's the big I am, and just
Peter listens patiently to the casualties' catalogue of complaints, but remains unmoved.
I've been doing this for 20 years, and every Friday and Saturday night, it is exactly the same.
Dean's nose is well out of kilter, and if he's prepared to wait his turn in casualty, a doctor will doubtless straighten it out. The next call sounds more serious.
At the moment we're going to a man who's been found laying in the road. We don't know any other details just at the moment. We don't know if he's conscious or breathing, but we'll be there in about 2 minutes, so we'll find out then. So we're from the ambulance service. You have a small cut to your head. Are you all right if we have a look at it?
How do I get that? How do I get that?
Okay, come on.
That's all right. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, good lad. Come up here. Come up here.
Try and keep yourself nice and calm, all right? Just go put this on your...
The street may be crowded with onlookers, but few can offer any clues as to exactly what happened.
He's got a small cut to his head. He just needs a few stitches.
A quick run to hospital delivers him safely into the hands of the A&E department.
And it turns out there's a cocktail of alcohol, coke, ecstasy on board, and he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know if he was run over, if he was attacked, if he just tripped over in the street. And now he's kicking off in casualty, and security are looking after him.
The Friday night phenomenon of casualties fueled by drink brings with it a catalogue of unpleasant confrontation and aggression inside the ambulance.
We work as a team, so the colleague, if they're driving the ambulance, the person who's driving will keep their eye on the mirror. looking to see if they can pick up little tips that it may be going wrong in the back and be ready to hit the brakes if they need to. SM5, thank you. Stand down as advisor dealing. Where would you like us to go?
By the early hours, the city has quietened down, but not everywhere.
Let's bring him in the back for a second and I'll tell you all about it.
I suggest you go home, all right?
Right.
Are you injured?
She's been punched.
Can we just have a quick look in the ambulance and just clean it up for you?
No, I'm not going to ambulance.
You're not going to ambulance, fine, fair enough.
It appears that no one is in the mood to either cooperate or compromise.
Oh, they're arresting him, that's fine, fair enough.
A man is arrested for assaulting a woman, but the woman refuses medical treatment from Peter and Jean and walks off. The incident is over. Dawn is breaking, and with it, a call to another emergency.
We've just been called out to a lady acutely short of breath, but with a chronic condition. She's on home oxygen. And these are the people who suffer all night long, and they don't want to bother people. They don't want to bother their doctor. They don't want to bother the ambulance service. They struggle all night, and then it comes the dawn, they can't cope anymore, and they phone us. And these are the people we should be dealing with. Hello, ambulance. Okay, you're fine. We're here. We're going to help you breathing. Okay, just try and slow breathing down a bit.
As Peter predicted, Margaret has been struggling to breathe for the last 6 hours.
Is it emphysema?
Yes.
Yeah.
Last night.
Why ever didn't you call us earlier?
I don't like to worry people.
You don't like to worry us? You have no idea what we've been doing all night?
I couldn't talk. Just on the phone.
We can locate you by your phone. If you phone 999, we know where you are.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's clever stuff. Okay, ready, set, lift.
Well before they reach hospital, Peter starts the treatment that will ease Margaret's discomfort.
Hopefully by the time we've got to the hospital, your breathing will start to improve because it's opening up your airways.
The shift is drawing to a close, for Peter and Jean, having spent much of the night dealing with the drunk and disorderly and their victims. This last case has provided a welcome reminder of just why they do the job they do.
It sounds a cliche, you want to do a job to help people, but we do a job that helps people. We change people's lives. If we make a mistake, that could change someone's life forever. And if we do something right, which we do hopefully more often than not, that also changes people's lives forever, and you have an impact. And every day you come to work, you do something different.
This job has a very much of a feel-good factor. The patients are pleased to see us. We look forward to helping the patients. And what other job can you get where people actually say thank you?
RAF Watersham and a Royal Air Force search and rescue helicopter takes to the sky, loaded with firefighters and large bags of rescue equipment. This is the Suffolk team making up part of a new national emergency service codenamed MERGE, the Maritime Incident Response Group. Under the control of the United Kingdom Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, it's made up of firefighters drawn from brigades throughout Britain. Suffolk's coordinator is Assistant Divisional Officer Richard Chandler.
MERG is a national organisation that encompasses 15 coastal fire and rescue services. So if a service has an incident just off their coastline, they can call in backup from a number of the MERGE teams around the UK to come and help deal with the incident.
For firefighters sent to sea, especially in treacherous winter weather, the journey itself can prove extremely hazardous, so the crew have to undergo rigorous safety training. In a special training tank at Norwich Airport, the firefighters are taught how to react if a helicopter runs into trouble, forcing it to ditch or crash into the sea. A helicopter is top-heavy. Its engines are immediately underneath its rotor blades. This means it will turn upside down if it crashes into the sea. If it happens for real, it's likely to be extremely cold, dark, and terrifying. The escape drill must be both spontaneous and second nature. Matt Eagle is a firefighter from Lowestoft with 3 years' experience.
Once it goes over, you've got to wait for it to settle down, and then we're using breathing apparatus to
to make a very fast exit through either the door we came in or punch the windows out and go out that way.
Kantu Patel is a watch manager with 10 years' experience.
Kicking out the doors was a bit of fun, but I think it was the last thing on my mind as far as fun went. Retrospectively, it was fun, but at the time I was desperate to get out and made sure that I used the air that I had conservatively, just in case you know, it was deeper or I went into a panic. Fortunately, I didn't, and managed to kick away and see the surface very quickly.
Having reached the surface, the next challenge is to stay afloat while waiting to be rescued. At the Marine Environmental Tank in Lowestoft, the team practice launching and boarding a life raft, as well as swimming in full kit. This is important, not just in the event of their helicopter ditching, but if a fire they go to fight on board a vessel gets completely out of control, the team may be forced to abandon ship. After an easy spell in calm waters, things get more challenging as 6 large wind machines, an overhead water sprinkler and a wave machine simulate a Force 8 gale.
The environmental tank training is actually to give us a little bit more realism. It gives us a realistic element of training. Naturally, the water's a bit warmer than it probably would be in the North Sea, but the conditions that they can generate there are very similar, i.e. wind, rain, and the choppy seas, etc., which will go on to produce seasickness very quickly in some people.
Having mastered their emergency drills, the team is now ready to embark on a training mission to rescue casualties trapped in the engine room of a burning ship. The newly trained crew of 8 men and 1 woman are now flying aboard a Royal Air Force Sea King helicopter from RAF Watersham to the vessel in Lowestoft Harbour, where exercise coordinators have filled the below-deck spaces with dense smoke.
Service witness 35012. On bridge back to the north 37217.
If an operational call comes in to Suffolk Fire and Rescue Service, then we would muster our teams to 2 rendezvous points. We would assemble team members and associated equipment to deal with the incident, and then we would be picked up by the RAF and taken to the casualty vessel, winched down onto the vessel, and then really start to form some kind of plan to deal with the incident that we were faced with.
After winching down onto the deck, the team must quickly get themselves and their equipment to a pre-arranged muster point.
Service attendants, before we do anything, I need to confirm you're happy for us to come aboard.
Yes, we're happy for you to be on board.
Assistant Divisional Officer Carl Rolfe is Operations Commander, and he goes straight to the bridge to be briefed by the ship's master.
The role of the Operations Commander is really to make contact with the master, ensure that we are still required, and then start to formulate a plan to deal with the incident as passed over by the master to the Operations Commander.
At the muster point, the team exchange their flying gear for firefighting kit. 3 breathing apparatus crews prepare for what they know will be a difficult search for casualties, in thick smoke, below decks. Carl is now ready to brief his second-in-command, Station Officer Paul Field.
Life risk. We have a life risk on board.
Yeah. Do we know how many people are missing?
2. From
2
a total
persons.
crew complement of 21. So we've accounted for 19 with a roll call, 2
okay,
missing.
2 missing.
Paul briefs the 3 BA crews. Teams 1 and 2 will search for the casualties, and Team 3 will try to find if the fire has spread to other areas of the ship.
Most vessels now are made out of steel, and steel doesn't react too well to fires. So not only have you got the usual hazards that you would expect from firefighting, you've got the additional construction of the ship, which in itself poses a hazard as well.
Team 1 receiving loud and clear, over. Okay, happy? Gauge check, 190.
The first BA team is told to find the generator room and then search it for casualties.
Okay, there's a landing halfway down and then there's a turn to your left.
Going in MBA in a ship is totally different to that going anywhere on land. The whole structure's different, it's moving, there's lots of rooms, it's narrow, there's massive amount of hazards that you can be confronted with just even from the start.
Can you give me an update on your location, over? We're down in the generator room at the moment.
And naturally your vision is reduced because of the masks that we wear, and also you have to be mindful of the oxygen and the air that you're using. So if you're anxious, you're going to use more oxygen. If you're very, very hot, you're going to use more oxygen.
Located casualty, generator room, making our way out, over.
It was a hell of an effort, considering it was only 2 flights of stairs, and this was, you know, a small vessel in comparison. If you think about a liner, and you know, it could be 5 or 6, 7 floors, you know, levels that we could go down.
Okay, let's get him over here.
Radio Rolf, go ahead, over.
Yeah, Crew 1 have located a casualty in the engine room area.
Good communications down through the chain of command is vital for the safety of the firefighters, working throughout the ship in heat and smoke.
Just confirm 1 person still unaccounted for, so if you carry on with that search and rescue operation.
Okay, let's go.
The second BA team is now making its way to the engine room.
Right, then open the door. Turning right. Right, yeah. Well, now I'm at 180, over. Okay. BA team at 2, we've now found a casualty on withdrawing. BA team 2, over.
The casualties may be dummies, but they're a realistic weight, and the team treat the exercise as if they were genuine injured people. They know the next time they do this, it could be for real. The third BA crew is now searching for hotspots and any signs of the fire spreading to other parts of the ship.
We went in with a thermal image camera to try and sort of locate hotspots within the ship to see perhaps if the fire was still burning, whereabouts it was, relay that information back to the officer in charge so he can better formulate a plan to contain the fire. Four saved, over.
If the team had found that the fire had spread, the challenge would have been to decide how best to tackle it.
The problem we're faced at sea is if we're pumping water into a vessel, stability becomes an issue and possibly sinking becomes an issue. So we have to make sure we know exactly how much water we're putting into a compartment, so therefore we can pump out the same amount of water.
At a real incident, at sea, the crew would stay on board and accompany the ship into the safety of a harbour. But this is an exercise, so the team assemble their kit and prepare to return to normal duties. Having completed their training, these firefighters are now part of the National Maritime Incident Response Group. But do they feel ready to put their lives at risk, fighting fire and rescuing people at sea?
I can't say I'd look forward to jumping off the side of a ship and into the cold sea, but now we've had the training, we're good to go.
I just hope it never happens, but if it needs be, I'd be happy to go out there and do what I need to do.
It's this way of testing yourself. There's this little bit of excitement about it, but there's also in the back of your mind this thought that, okay, this might be exciting, this might be exhilarating, but ultimately one day what I'm learning today might actually save my life in the middle of the North Sea.
PCs Graham Swain and Shona Birkby are from Bedfordshire's Road Policing Unit, based at Kempston. Leaving Halsey Road Police Station, Graham and Shona are heading off for the M1, where they'll patrol the 18-mile stretch of Bedfordshire Motorway, keeping a keen eye on road safety.
We're doing it for their safety. We want people to go home at night to their loved ones. We don't want to have to go around and tell them that they've been killed in a car accident, that we've had to put them in a body bag and here's their property back. And it's a horrible way to look at it, but sometimes the only way people will actually equate safety or not doing something is by getting a fine for doing it.
Within minutes of getting on the motorway, they prepare to make their first stop.
We've just been overtaken by, what is it, a Mercedes?
Mercedes.
Mercedes in lane 3. We don't believe the driver's got his seatbelt on and he was in excess of the speed limit, and aircraft was going up to 90 miles an hour as he went past us. He's not hanging about, so we'll do some checks on him, pull him over and have a chat with him. Hello there, you alright? What I'm going to do is I need to talk to you about your speed and the fact that you're not wearing your seatbelt correctly. Okay? Hang on. But I need to speak to you at the back of the traffic car. Okay? Well, I'm not going to argue with you here at the moment, sir. So what we'll do is we'll speak to you at the back of the traffic car where I can hear you and where you can hear me. Okay?
A lot of the time now, newer cars, you don't realise the speed you're doing, so you put your foot on the accelerator and you're off. And a lot of people go, oh, I didn't realise I was doing that speed. Well, if you don't realise you're doing that speed, it means you're not concentrating.
Checking the rest of the vehicle, Shona's attention has now been drawn to another problem.
However, because of the state of that tyre, what you need to do before you move off and follow on to your journey is to change your tyre over.
As the tyre comes off, it appears to be seriously worn.
Basically, you should have 1.6 millimetres of tread, which you can see here is probably about 1.6 mil, slightly deeper. But when you get up to here, look, this is virtually smooth.
Eventually, Graham and Shona send the driver on his way and return to their patrol. Within a few minutes, an emergency call comes over the radio.
Perfect example of lane discipline.
We're sitting here, we've got blue lights on, they can move over, but no, they don't even know we're here. You know, he's got not a clue that he's got a police car up behind. There we go, he's finally moved over.
Hello mate, you alright? The issue that we've got, unfortunately, is that because you're on the motorway and you're on the outside changing a tyre, it's dangerous. If we can get a lane 1 closure done for you, then we can get your tyre changed and get it sorted for you, hopefully. Okay. So if he's not got that up all the way yet, perhaps lane 1 closure may be the best option.
I think it might be, because if Saunders have got a jack...
They've got to try and get through that.
Yeah. People don't realise how dangerous the motorway can be. Often when we go to somebody who's broken down, they are quite scared by the fact that the lorries thunder past, the whole car is shaking. And people will be bending down trying to change a tyre, oblivious that there are lorries thundering past inches away from their body. We've had tyre fitters out changing lorry tyres and been killed by lorries or another car in the lane, hitting them as they're trying to do a repair.
With the lane closed off, the men can safely change their tyre. But on the other carriageway, a classic motorway problem has just occurred.
While we're dealing with an incident on this carriageway, somebody's possibly either watching what's going on, looking across at us. Ideal example of rubbernecking, because the car in front has braked and stopped and the car behind's just gone straight up the back of it. We're a bit stuck because we're obviously trying to do this and we can't get across to go and deal with that one.
Happily, the rubbernecking incident is minor and the 2 drivers leave the scene. The tyre is now changed and the van continues on its way. All that remains is for Graham to retrieve the cones and get back on patrol.
Hi, sir. The reason we stopped you weren't wearing your seatbelt.
Yeah, I know, I realise. It's what it is, I drive lorries all day, and it's just a false habit of...
Not wearing it. Got to point out it's an offence, you do not have to say anything.
I've been to collisions where people have broken limbs, where they've rearranged their face on the steering wheel because they didn't have a seatbelt on. I've been to collisions where people have actually died, where they would have walked away from that vehicle if they'd have been wearing their seatbelt at the time.
When you rejoin the motorway, use as much of the hard shoulder as you need, build your speed up 50, 60 mile an hour, make sure you've got a good clear gap in lane 1 before you pull out. Okay, cheers. Take care.
The next emergency call is to clear the remains of a burst tyre from the carriageway. The crew of another police vehicle are standing by to perform a rolling roadblock, a technique with which the traffic in the carriageway can be brought to a halt. Graham and Shona run up ahead to clear the debris. Everything Graham and Shona do on the motorway depends on both of them looking out for each other's safety.
We are very lucky on the roads policing unit, on our section especially, that we are crewed with one person constantly, and that gives us the opportunity to know how each other work. So we know one person's dealing with something while another person is making the scene safe. And we're that close. Well, obviously we have nicknames for each other, and my crewmate Graham is called Badger. He's been called Badger for years, and he's always going to be called Badger, bless him.
Further along the motorway, the lorry which had shed its tyre has pulled up on the hard shoulder.
You can see what's happening. It's actually still inflated, so it hasn't gone with a bang, but basically you can see, I don't know if you can see from here, the centre of his tyre, all the tyre tread has shredded off. Literally, all of that tread's gone.
When a tyre will blow out, it will throw debris all over the road. There'll be parts, wires and all sorts of pieces in the car. People will swerve to avoid any debris that's flying or anything that's in the road. If you're doing 70 miles an hour, your overall stopping distance is 375 feet before you actually bring your car to a halt, and that's quite some distance to travel. And when a lot of people, you often notice, are only travelling 15-20 feet away from the car in front.
The final stop of the shift begins when a Fiesta in lane 3 overtakes Graham and Shona.
The vehicle in front of us has just overtaken us when we're doing just over 70 miles an hour. It's got front fog lights on, and also neither the driver or the passenger are wearing a seatbelt. I saw you coming up quite a speed. You've overtaken me, probably doing nearly 80 miles an hour, and then you've braked and moved in front of me because you obviously realised you shouldn't have done it. And lastly, the most serious one that you're going to get a ticket for is that neither you nor your passenger had seatbelts on. Okay.
And the other question is, have you got any cannabis in the vehicle? Just wondered why you were leaning back through the car. I could just smell cannabis. Have you been near anybody? Had anybody in the car smoking cannabis? I'm going to search the vehicle under the Misuse of Drugs Act, okay, because I can smell something. So if there is anything in that vehicle, and neither of you tell me now, you'll both be under arrest and you come down to Dunstable Police Station. Well, I've got nothing in there. Have you got anything? How much is it? Do you want to go and get it for me? Save me searching it, huh? If you've never been in trouble with the drugs before, you'll just have a street caution. I'm going to seize this, and I'm going to caution you, and I'm going to put you in the back of the police vehicle because I'm going to have to interview you in regards to it and give you a street caution. It won't go any further, okay, as long as you haven't been in trouble with the police before. No, just keep your back to the traffic so I can know what's coming behind you. So if something comes onto the hard shoulder, I can move you out of the way. Okay, come on to the side for me.
I've just popped my head in because I'm naturally curious just to see what's in the car. I smelt a faint scent of cannabis. People think that they can just have it whenever they want and keep it in the car, but you can smell cannabis quite easily. It's one of these pungent smells you can't get rid of at all, and that gives us enough grounds under the Drugs Act, the Misuse of Drugs Act, to search them in the car. And as a result of today's stop, we've not only issued 2 tickets for seatbelts, we've also seized some drugs as well.
And so, as their shift ends, Graham and Shona return to Kempston.
I do get a lot out of it. I get a lot out of the fact that I can go home and think I've not been to a fatal today. Because just because we wear the uniform doesn't mean to say we're not human beings underneath everything that we wear. And we do get affected by seeing the devastation and telling families that people have died.
You get a lot of job satisfaction. People think it's strange. At the end of the day, the best way to look at it, I'm out there trying to save lives. If I can reduce the number of people that get killed, it means that somebody goes home to their wife, husband, mother. In a sense, I've done the job.
Colchester Ambulance Headquarters. John Nichols is Clinical Operations Manager for North Essex. It's a bank holiday weekend, and tonight he's manning a rapid response vehicle. Britain's oldest recorded town is no stranger to the modern phenomenon of thousands of young people heading for the town centre clubs and pubs on Fridays and Saturdays for the sole purpose of consuming large quantities of alcohol. 5,000 troops are garrisoned here, as are 7,000 students.
On the whole, they're normally quite good. We get the occasional one that might have had too much to drink, falls down and hurts themselves. mainly the young girls. They get a bit giggly and fall about, and you think, I wonder what they're going to think about it in the morning if they ever saw themselves.
John takes up position on the high street close to the hippodrome. A few moments later, the first emergency call comes over the radio. The police are at a pub where the landlord has been assaulted and has a nasty head wound.
So did he headbutt you or punch you?
He punched me in the side of the head, but he headbutted me there, which is what split it open.
And that's what split it open. Were you knocked out at all?
No.
The head wound isn't too serious, but it is deep, and it does need stitching.
You need a few stitches in that one.
I can't do stitches.
Aren't you?
No.
Well, don't like needles?
I'm not great with them, no.
All right. You're gonna... that's
I do
open...
butterflies fine, but...
Yeah, that is quite deep, that one. That goes right down. It's...
While John attends to the wound, police take statements and try to ascertain exactly what happened.
Basically, there was a chap in here who was barred a couple of years ago and came back in tonight, asked him to leave, and he decided he didn't want to. He went to hit me and I sort of knocked his hand away, and then he sort of tried to hit me a few more times. We ended up grappling a bit, and while me and a couple of mates were trying to get him out the front, he decided to nut me in the side of the head, split it open. Thick skull.
As the ambulance departs, John returns to the high street to await the next call.
In this time of the year still, they fall, and they haven't got a lot on. They get cold very quickly, especially if they've had quite a bit to drink, because alcohol thins the blood. I mean, it feels warm when you drink it, but it actually thins the blood down, so the more you drink, and if you are outside, then the colder you become. I mean, in winter time, some of them are almost hypothermic when you pick them up, especially if it's been raining or sleeting, snowing as well.
After only a few moments on standby, another call comes in.
We're going to a 16-year-old, I'm not sure if it's male or female, overdosed in the street, so it could be an overdose of drugs, an overdose of alcohol. So we'll get there, we'll see if he's taking anything or if it's just drink.
You still awake? You still awake? Yeah? Can you feel that? Yeah?
Where have you been? Have you been just locally?
Local lads.
Oh, in the park and that, have you? No, he'll be fine, he'll be fine. Yeah, all right? We'll sort him out. He's had tequila, lager, doesn't normally drink wine and that. He's just gone out with some mates and they've just given him loads and loads of stuff to drink.
We don't know when
It's not normally vomited a few times, he's conscious and everything. He'd obviously been out with some friends. He said he was going to the cinema and they'd been drinking various types of drink. He's not one of these boys that goes out drinking, apparently, from what his mother was saying. He doesn't do that sort of thing, so I think inexperience and such a mixture of drink has got the better of him. He vomited and just collapsed on the ground.
Keep your head up, matey. Can we sit you up? You reckon you can sit up for me?
No.
Put this arm on my shoulder and pull up on me. And come up to a sitting position, old friend.
It is a dangerous combination of lots of different drinks. If they go home and the parents are not aware that they have been drinking, they go to bed, and if they're still feeling nauseous or vomiting, because they go into such a drunken stupor, sleep or unconsciousness, if they're on the back, then they compromise their airway. They'll vomit, don't realise they vomit, it will collect in the back of the airway and it'll stop them breathing, and then eventually the heart will stop.
With the patient transferred to the ambulance, John now turns his attention to some bystanders.
Is all go home to bed.
We can't get them, mate.
Go home.
Eventually the group disperses, just in time for John's next emergency call.
We're going to a road traffic collision, about 4 or 5 miles up the road. I'm not sure what's involved. It's on a notorious road where we tend to get quite a few serious accidents along that stretch. Oh, somebody's took the telegraph poles out. There's sparks coming off the cables.
Hiya, you all right?
Yes. Anybody injured?
A car has crossed to the wrong side of the road, mounted the pavement and come to rest with its front end embedded in a pole carrying power cables.
Skid mark, he's actually snapped that high-tension power cable off. See it sparking up there?
Although spectacular to watch, the high voltage is extremely dangerous, so the fire brigade have been called to make things safe.
Yeah, fire brigade are here now.
Despite the damage, the driver of the car appears to be completely uninjured, and so John returns to the town centre. But before he gets back to the high street, there's a red call to a nightclub.
Next to Root nightclub, Queen Street, male with a head injury. Oh yeah.
He's fell over in Root. He's got a laceration to his head. He's sitting on his hair there.
Are you knocked out?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Remember everything that happened?
Got straight back up again and walked out.
Get a dressing on there, then we'll send you up to the hospital and get it stitched up, glued up. All right. All right. You lift your head up towards me so I can miss your eyes.
The young man has simply tripped on the stairs in the nightclub, fallen and gashed his head.
Oh, and you've got a cut there where it's just on the skin. All your nerve endings are near the top of the skin, so you'll feel it more. It's like when you if you have a small burn, and that really hurts, doesn't it? Because the nerve endings are so close to the surface. But if it's a deep cut or a deep burn, it destroys the nerve endings, you don't get the pain.
No, but thanks so much.
That's all right. Yeah. You might get in route free next time.
Not if I've stained the carpet.
The patient is perfectly sober, and after a short, sensible conversation, John is confident the problem is nothing more than a bleeding head wound.
We'll move on, ready for the next one then.
But dealing with injuries outside the pubs and clubs is rarely as straightforward as this one.
We get a fair bit of aggression, mainly verbal from the people, obviously through the drink. But I would think that the saddest thing that's happened to the ambulance services all over the UK is that we're now going to be issued with stab vests. And I think that has come as a great shame to the ambulance staff as well. People do carry broken bottles, they do have knives, and you just don't know when something's going to turn funny.
Back in the high street, things are beginning to calm down. But it's not over yet. News of an assault comes over the radio.
I've been called to an assault. Query the assailant is still on the scene, and there may be up to 3 people been injured. Police are en route as well, so...
She took his bunny ears as a laugh, run off down the road. He got the ump about
They've pushed you over, yeah?
They pushed me over. I don't
What injuries have you got?
Yeah,
Where did they punch you? Couple 3 details for us, mate.
How are you?
Couple 3 details for us.
Where are you hurting most?
It seems 2 girls attempted to take some Easter bunny ears from 2 unknown passers-by. A fight broke out, and now the police are left trying to establish exactly who assaulted who.
And this guy's been knocked flat on his back, and he's got all grazes down his arm. So I don't know if you want to sit him in there, have a look, but I don't think they need to go to hospital. Just probably need a bit of clean up and just sit them down and calm them down a bit.
For John, at 2:30 in the morning, high-spirited antics caused by the demon drink are wearing a bit thin.
I'm frustrated by it, the amount of drunks we do go to, and I think someone's got to turn around and look at the amount of drunk people that we're dealing with that are filling up the casualty departments, tying up the emergency services, that they should now start to be fined or issued with a penalty for using the ambulance service because of their own self-infliction.
At last, the high street is empty. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and they've all gone home. The big clean-up of discarded beer cans and takeaway packaging has begun.
Towards the end of the shift you're doing, especially sort of the half-night shift, sort of 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you'll sit there, and that's a really nice sign to see the road sweeper coming up, collecting all the rubbish. The streets are empty, you think, yeah, that's good. Everybody's gone home. It's a good result when you can go home. Done a good job, and nobody's been hurt too much.
There's something new in the air over the east of England. It's an MD 902 Explorer, a high-tech helicopter belonging to Cambridgeshire Constabulary. Cambridgeshire first launched its police air support unit back in 1997, and the original aircraft quickly established itself as a valuable crime-fighting tool. The new helicopter is faster, safer and better equipped than its predecessor. It means if you're on the run from the police, you've got nowhere to hide. PC Andy Craigie, with 15 years' experience as a police officer, has been an air observer for 4 years.
The primary search tool on the aircraft is the camera system. That has daylight cameras and also a thermal camera on it, which will enable us to carry out searches both normal daylight and during the night time.
Yes, go ahead.
We've got a digital downlink that we can transmit the pictures from the camera system from the aircraft whilst we're in flight down to our force control room. So the supervisors in the control room can actually see what the aircraft's looking at.
The pilot, Captain David Crissell, has already had a career flying helicopters in the army, but he's excited about the revolutionary technology of the new aircraft. Unlike traditional helicopters, this one doesn't have a tail rotor.
The key system is the NOTAR system, and it uses ducted air rather than an external tail rotor. It makes the aircraft significantly quieter, and this is a key feature when we're operating over the towns and cities in the small hours, and people will notice this is significantly quieter. It's also a lower tone, much less intrusive noise than the old tail rotor system.
Cockers off and runner slowly up the road.
The first call out for the shift comes when the crew receive a radio message to get airborne and head off to an area where police on the ground believe the helicopter might be able to help them find a stolen vehicle.
Go ahead.
We've had a call suggesting that there's some intelligence to say that there's a stolen lorry with a HIAB crane on the back of the lorry secreted on a caravan site within the county.
PC Simon Amos is the front seat observer. He's been a police officer for 19 years and an observer in the air support unit for 3 of them.
Primarily, most of the jobs that we attend are search type jobs, whether that be searching for somebody that is missing, searching for an offender or searching for a vehicle. The technology on the aircraft allows us to see people before they see us.
For this mission, Andy Craigie is in the rear seat.
The rear seat observer has a workstation in front of him and we have 2 screens. The top screen is a moving map system, so that assists us in directing the pilot which way to go and to locate the scene.
As pilot, Captain David Crissell's job is to get the helicopter over the crime scene as quickly and as safely as possible. Once there, he must hold the aircraft in the best position for the camera.
My job at the scene is really to enable the police officers on board to do their job, and it's all about flying an appropriate orbit that allows the police officer in the left-hand seat to operate the camera effectively and get to see what he requires on the ground.
It's not long before they spot 2 lorries fitting the initial description.
Yeah, we've got 2 flatbeds with HIABs on the site. One's the similar to the registration that we first gave there. We can't quite see all of it, which is just at the entrance. But if you go onto the main site and drive up the road, there's another flatbed, looks like a Ford Iveco type.
They're pretty sure they've found the stolen vehicle. It's now time to direct officers on the ground to the exact location. This is a key role for Andy in the rear seat.
We work closely in conjunction with the ground mobiles, and they can either be police officers on foot patrol or in police vehicles carrying out their patrol duties.
Within minutes, the ground patrol arrive on scene.
Right, slow down. Not the site you're next to on your right, it's the next one up. I think there's a fence. Keep going, keep going. Stop, 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 and it's on your right-hand side.
An officer on the ground asks the control room for a police national computer check on the registration numbers of both lorries.
Stolen motor vehicle from the 4th of March from Bibbleswade in Bedfordshire.
It turns out they're right on target. The lorry is indeed stolen.
As a result of us attending, they were able to recover that lorry and remove it from the site, and it's been returned to its rightful owner.
Quebec Hotel 88 to receive. Yes, go ahead.
Last year, the Cambridgeshire helicopter assisted in the recovery of nearly £150,000 worth of property. With the enhanced capability of the new aircraft, the prospects look even better.
Call, or has he located the vehicle as described by the informant?
The next job is to investigate a report from a female 999 caller who's seen a suspicious vehicle apparently being dumped by two youths. They then make off into a field.
I think what raised a suspicion was the fact that the youths then proceeded to make off into a field and in her opinion were hiding in that field. The assumption therefore being that the vehicle they'd got out of was a stolen vehicle.
A ground patrol is on its way to the area, but if there's to be a real chance of locating the young men, the helicopter is the quicker and better option.
Yeah, Roger, we'll be on scene shortly and we'll commence a search of the field. Can you just give me the description again, please? We're going to come in, please, 50. Yeah, they parked up a vehicle outside of it and then run round and hid in the field. Jumped out of the vehicle. Yeah,
way past that Skull Road just in the 1 o'clock. I reckon if we just check out the fields either side of Skull Road, to begin with.
In minutes, the helicopter is above the abandoned car.
You got the site over at 4 o'clock though, so they could have made their way across that, couldn't they?
I'm just going to do a thermal search because we're losing light now on the...
Now it's time to turn their attention to the car's former occupants.
50. Yeah, 50. We're currently going to do a thermal search of the fields. We'll let you know if we pick anything up.
The thermal camera does pick up, amongst other things, it picks up heat sources. So any heat change in heat in its field of view, it will pick up, and that's what forms the black and white picture.
The camera picks up the image of one young man who fits the description given by the 999 caller.
If you want to come down, I'll talk you down towards where he is at the moment, over.
The thermal imaging camera tracks the young man behind some trees, but then the heat source runs out.
Yeah, this heat source is exactly where this individual walked out from. It's gone onto this, or went into this area just in front of where I'm standing.
Yeah.
The officers think the suspect may have disappeared into a caravan. As things stand, no offence has actually been committed. There's only been a series of suspicious goings-on.
Unless we can connect them to that vehicle, the officers got no power to go and start searching caravans. So unfortunately, we've left that job behind. The vehicle itself has been checked, and there's nothing to suggest that it is a stolen vehicle. But you know, unless we come to these jobs, we don't know what the outcome is going to be, and it's far better that we come and obviously hope that we can provide some assistance rather than not come. So.
Darkness has descended, and the team are called to assist in another search for a suspect runaway.
We've been asked to go to March. 2 people have made off from officers on the ground in an industrial area in the town of March.
And a little bear sharp to the left. The police officers on the ground have given chase. They've managed to detain 1 male, but there's still 1 outstanding. And he was last seen going across the field at the back of a Tesco superstore. And obviously we're just going en route there to try and assist in the search of the open area.
The thermal imaging camera, together with the night sun searchlight, are used to penetrate the darkness.
The aircraft has a SX-16 night sun lamp on it. That's 30 million candle power, so it's as bright as they get. And it requires both generators on the aircraft to be running to power this thing. And it's a very powerful and effective torch, if you like, which enables us to light the scene and assist with apprehending offenders or searching for missing people.
Simon, go right. Go up. See that black roof? I'll just zoom in on the side of that building. I know you've got some heat coming out the side, but on the side of the field there, if you go left, it's a dead end, but if you go right, that goes back up in towards town.
Suddenly, the police officers on the ground come on the radio with some surprising news.
Yeah, I think he's flushed him out, mate. He's just given himself up.
Yeah, that's all received. Thanks very much. Got a visual on him now.
Well, what happened was the officers have just updated the control room to the effect that he's gone up to them and said, the helicopter's up there. Hands up, it's me. With your person check that you've got there.
So there you go.
For Andy and Simon, it's a good result at the end of a long shift.
He's in essence come out from his hiding place and handed himself in as a result of us being overhead.
It's very difficult to get away once we've got you on the camera.
Luton is the home to the biggest and busiest fire station in the east of England, employing 64 full-time firefighters. For 50 years, crews from this station have provided 24/7 emergency fire cover for the town of Luton. Call-outs range from major industrial and domestic incidents to car fires and arson. There are 2 pumps, one of which is now on its way to the first emergency call of the day. The 999 caller gave only scant information, so the crew have to search for telltale signs of smoke around the streets of the reported location.
Luton Town, for information, this was traced to police control via a police unit in the area.
Tracy Hutchinson has been at Luton for nearly 4 years. She's one of 9 full-time female firefighters working for the Bedfordshire and Luton Fire and Rescue Service.
On the way to shouts, you'd be thinking, depending on what shout it is, what you might come across. If it's a fire, then you'd be thinking, do I know what the building is? Do I know what it's used for? So it's just run through scenarios about what it might be when you get there. But the worst thing you can do is make a plan of action, because inevitably it'll always be not what you expected.
The smoke and its source are still proving elusive.
Yeah, it's this one here on the left here. Yeah, I'm just pulling in, Andy.
Definite bonfire, Nick.
Fire found. The next issue is access.
Yeah, he's got someone around the front.
Get through next door, neighbours.
This may appear to be just another bonfire, but in the firefighter's eyes, it has all the marks of a fire that could easily get out of control.
It's quite harmless, I suppose, to have a bonfire, but it could all go a bit terribly wrong. It had a wooden fence around it, and it was very close to the wooden fence. It was quite spread out in the garden. It was burning green vegetation. It was giving off a lot of smoke. We put it out because the people who were watching the fire weren't particularly watching the fire, and all they had was a little washing up bowl of water. So if it had got out of hand, there was absolutely no way that they were equipped to cope with it or stop it spreading. We used probably about 100 litres to put that fire out, and there's no way you're putting 100 litres in a washing up bowl.
The firefighters leave, satisfied they've averted a flaming disaster.
Person's reported, report of an explosion.
Your left hand wall, basement, for the entrance there, yeah? Got it?
Left hand wall, basement?
Yeah.
Back at the fire station, White Watch embark on a drill to rescue suspected casualties trapped in a simulated house fire. Breathing apparatus is essential, as conditions inside the building are cramped and dark and filled with smoke. A fitness enthusiast, Tracy Hutchinson is undaunted by the physical and psychological challenge of the job.
And there's many a time that you go to a job and it is quite dangerous, but you don't really get a chance to process it because you've got all these other things that are going on. You know what you've got to do, and you just go in and do it. And it's only sort of like afterwards, like you'd be sitting, maybe eating something around the mess table, and you just think, hang on a minute, that was a bit dicey, that was. But you just don't really, you just go into sort of autopilot. You're just doing your job at the end of the day.
Where was this one? Safe spot?
It's quite enclosed. It's hard to move around because your cylinder gets caught in the ceiling. we got some debris, and the debris was blocking a tunnel, so we could get around the other side. There was one casualty at one end and one casualty at the other. So then we just removed the debris, moved it into a tunnel that we'd already searched, and then continued searching the rest of the tunnels.
If drills like this seem a little artificial, they do keep the firefighters up to scratch. None of them are strangers to the real thing.
I've crawled down a storm drain before because some kids had lit a fire at the end, and the only way we could get to it was like crawling down a storm drain.
Like Tracy, Richard Portlock has clocked up nearly 4 years' service as a firefighter, and like her, is undaunted by the idea of getting into difficult situations.
What we try and do here, it's a very safe environment. We had 2 people, sort of safety officers, watching this to make sure that we're doing all right. So we try and simulate the hardest drills that we're ever possible to encounter, like rooms full of load of rubbish and sofas and things, and have to pull those out. And we use the tunnels and basements to make us better for when we get out there and have to do it for real.
Drill finished, it's time for a meal in the mess, which at Luton Fire Station is on the 3rd floor. It's not long though before White Watch get a shout. It's all hands to the pump as fast as possible.
The station's quite big, it's on 3 stories, and there's 4 flights of stairs to get up to the top deck. So we still use the poles. It's obviously more safer to slide down the pole than it is to run down 4 flights of stairs. So if we're at the top deck, we've got 2 pole drops, and the watch is about 16 strength, so any one time you can have like 12, 13 people going down 2 poles.
A smoke alarm has been activated in a house, but as yet there are no other details. For Richard Portlock, travelling under blue light is the realisation of a childhood dream.
I've always wanted to be a firefighter since I was a little boy, since I was about 5 years old. Even now when the bells go down, you still get that adrenaline rush and that little bit of buzz, even, you know, this is what you're here to do sort of thing.
Smoke coming out the window. It's your house, is it? Yeah. Yeah, you live alone? Your dinner, mate.
It's not long before the crew find the source of the smoke. The occupant had started cooking his supper.
It was an oil pan, so it could have gone up and set fire to his kitchen, but he put some cooking on, went outside, the door shut behind him, so he got locked out. The oil pan started to smoke, set the smoke alarm off.
The immediate danger now over, all that remains is to get the smoke out of the house. Without a smoke alarm, the story could have been very different. It's a message the fire service is keen to get across.
People don't understand the importance of them. We've been to so many houses where there's smoke alarms on the ceilings or on a ledge, but they're not connected, they haven't got any batteries in, or people don't test them. You know, a smoke alarm without a battery is useless. You can't stress to people enough the importance of seconds that it's going to give you in a fire.
Once that's all cooled down, empty your pan.
Listen, just take it with you, right?
No, we don't want to eat that. You can have it. Look.
As night falls, Richard and the crew get called out to a burning vehicle, which they have a strong suspicion will have been started deliberately.
Always fold them in. Right, think about gas if it's a camper van.
Aside from the danger of the vehicle's fuel tank exploding, camper vans are likely to have bottled gas for a cooker. In a fire like this, it's a bomb waiting to go off. The other thing the crew is concerned about is what's in the fuel tank, petrol or LPG, liquid petroleum gas.
So we're just checking at the moment with the thermal imaging camera. Looks like it's an LPG camper van of oil, so it's gas and petrol. This is a normal sort of problem we get. We turn out to what looks like a normal minibus, and as you can see, it's a homemade LPG, so they're running fuel in it to be more economical.
So potentially you come into a fire like this and it's actually, it's a bomb in the back of the motor.
The flames may appear to be out, but red-hot metal could easily reignite any unburned bits of seat or upholstery remaining in the wreckage. So firefighter Sean Masters gets out the thermal imaging camera.
See if there's any hot spots. Strange enough, when we turned up again, it didn't show too hot, so which was a good thing. Only scare we had was around the manifold at the top. But it's nice and cool now, so that's cool.
It seems the crew arrived in time to prevent what could have been a major explosion. It's a good result.
If you get that one big shout where you go out and sort of help people and it all turns out good, then it is hugely rewarding, and actually people appreciate you and thank you. You sort of step back and think, you've done a good job, and you go home and have a smile on your face thinking you've actually done something worthwhile here today.
My job is worthwhile. I hope that we make a difference, and I hope we make a difference for the better. The job does make you feel good. For me, it's the best job in the world.